Hi guys, Desi Cooney here with CyberFit. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist, certified nutritionist, and I hold a master's degree in nutrition and exercise science. I've also just coached a lot of people, and I'm here today to answer 10 of your most frequently asked questions surrounding fitness, weight loss, and longevity. Let's get into it. Question number 1 is, what is the best way to lose weight without feeling hungry all the time? This is a great question, and while some feelings of hunger might be unavoidable while dieting, we are in a caloric restriction after all, the feelings of extreme hunger and intense cravings are usually more associated with stuff like extreme diets, fad diets, and elimination style routines, which we are not huge fans of here. Taking big, drastic, unsustainable steps like this is why a lot of people fail, because those hunger cravings are just too powerful. General rule of thumb here, you shouldn't be doing anything drastic with your diet. We're still trying to eat a nice balance of food groups, prioritizing whole foods, and still getting plenty of separate feedings throughout the day so that we don't have these huge swaths of time where we're going without feeding ourselves. You also want to prioritize satiating foods within those feedings. So a lot of people simply aren't eating enough protein, or they're afraid to eat fats while they're dieting, and as a result, they're just starving all the time. To simplify, shoot for 3 or 4 square meals a day and prioritize your protein first from lean sources of meat or dairy products. On top of that, you also want to prioritize whole foods, which are typically more satiating than more processed foods. For example, you can fill up a lot more on whole baked potatoes than you can on potato chips for the same number of calories. Question number 2 here, what are the best exercises for women over 40 to lose weight? There aren't any specific magic exercises you need to be doing, but the general answer is a combination of strength training and cardiovascular exercise. I think with this demographic in particular, we can safely say emphasis on the strength training portion, because this is usually the part that's lacking. The most important thing though, more important than the specifics of your program, is to find activities that you actually enjoy doing and will do. So for your cardio, for example, maybe playing pickleball 2 times a week is more fun for you than running on a treadmill, and therefore it's probably the better option. Likewise, for your strength training, maybe going and joining a sculpting class at your local gym is going to be more fun than going and lifting weights all by yourself. When it comes down to the specific exercises you're doing, you just need to find exercises and activities that agree with you and your joints. So for cardio, we want a modality that we can do cyclically and continuously and sustainably. So for example, if running on a treadmill hurts your knees, maybe the elliptical will be a better option. With your resistance training, don't just go directly for the 5-pound weights or the light resistance bands. We want to prioritize full body compound exercises that are progressive in nature, meaning you can get stronger and lift more weight with them over time. That's why we ship 45-pound dumbbells to people, not 5s. Question number 3, are carbs bad for me, or should I include them in my diet? No, absolutely not. Carbs are not bad for you unless you have a problem with your insulin, such as diabetes, in which case you might just have to monitor them more closely. In fact, carbs are supremely important in giving you energy, not just for the workouts that you'll need to lose weight, but also just for daily activity. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go crushing the candy right away either. Typically, when it comes to choosing our carb sources, we like to encourage whole food sources again, so that might be rice, whole grain bread, or potatoes, because these are going to be more satiating and slower digesting. A sugary snack here and there, usually no big deal as long as it comes in under your daily caloric limit. You'll hear me say this a million times, but when it comes to weight loss, it really comes down to calories. And the most efficient way to get there for you is going to be what you can do most consistently. So don't feel like you need to go eliminating entire macronutrient groups. Question number 4 is, how can I build strength without feeling bulky? This is a pretty common question for women who are first getting into strength training, and as such, I'll put it very bluntly, it's either not going to happen or it's definitely not going to happen on accident. Even if you are someone who is predisposed to respond super well to resistance training and put on a bunch of muscle, it doesn't happen without your consent. It doesn't happen overnight. It's something you would see coming from a mile away. And for almost all women, this isn't going to be the issue they fear it's going to be. Building muscle takes a long time and a lot of consistent energy. For both men and women, but it's an even slower process for women than men, and it's an even slower process for older women than younger women. So suffice it to say this, lifting weights is not going to make you bulky. All it's going to do is help you lose weight, improve your quality of life, and help you live for a long time. Start lifting weights. Question number 5, how can I stop craving sugar and junk food? This is a great question, and the honest to God truth is, it's tough. This stuff is the result of decades of cutting edge food science and engineering designed to make it as physically addictive and enjoyable as legally possible for you. So it's probably always going to be something that you enjoy, and it's okay to just acknowledge that it tastes good, first of all. I think what this really boils down to is not so much a question of learning to say no all the time. Rather, it's a question of not putting yourself in those situations as often so you won't have to say no. So classic example here, right? Instead of having to choose between delicious Oreos in the cupboard or the cooked vegetables in the fridge, the simple answer is to not have those Oreos in your cupboard. Usually that leads to the choice being a lot easier. Another timeless example here is ensuring that you have meals prepped, ready, and saved for you to microwave at a moment's notice in the fridge so that you're less tempted to go out for fast food when there's food at home. Motivation is great, discipline is great, but those are finite resources. And for us at CyberFit, it's important for our clients not just to have the strength to say no, but making sure that the question never comes up or comes up way less often. That is actually how you stay on track instead of having to will yourself there every day. Question number 6, is walking enough exercise to stay healthy? The short answer is, it certainly can go a long way. We like to see this coupled with resistance training and cardio, like I said earlier, but walking can be quite a powerful tool on its own. It also depends what you mean by healthy. So if you're someone who is technically sedentary, meaning you take fewer than 5,000 steps per day, walking is absolutely the first line of defense that you should be looking for. It's probably the biggest thing that will make a difference in how you feel, and the effect it has on your all-cause mortality will be significant. From what they found, more walking is pretty much always better, and they have not discovered an upper limit to these benefits yet. However, walking alone doesn't give you the muscle mass or the improvements to metabolism that resistance training does, and it certainly isn't going to improve your VO2 max beyond a very base level in the same way that cardiovascular exercise will, which is why we like to see the three combined. However, at the end of the day, walking is amazing. It's a great habit to have and to hold, and you should absolutely keep doing it or start doing it if you're not right now. Question number 7. What is the best diet for women over 40? Short answer is the one that you're actually going to stick to for more than like a week or two. If you find that something is too hard or you can't stick to something, it probably is the wrong diet for you. More specifically, pretty much all roads lead to Rome when it comes to calorie restriction and choosing a different diet, so it's about picking the one that best aligns with your lifestyle. We aren't huge fans of restrictive diets here like keto, although it can work great for some people. We're much bigger fans of simply prioritizing whole food sources first, controlling overall calories, and prioritizing protein. I know that sounds boring, and that's because the effective stuff usually is. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. My advice is find your baseline calories, measure those accurately, and just start making small iterative changes to that diet instead of slashing a whole bunch of calories at once, or you won't stick to it. Next question, how do I get started if I haven't exercised in years? In a word, slowly. You definitely don't want to dive in so fast that you get hit with a whole bunch of soreness or even overuse injuries that deter you from wanting to come back and rebuild the habit. It's not about starting at 100 miles an hour, it's just about starting at all, and you can build speed as you go. So if it's been years since you've done any kind of exercise, we suggest starting with just walking every day, tracking those steps, and slowly building up your total volume. From there, you want to introduce a couple of dedicated workout sessions per week, whatever you can commit to at first. Maybe that's just 2, and they'll both be a combination of strength training and cardio. For your strength training, at first, this might look like 1 to 2 sets of 4 to 5 exercises. For your cardio, it could just be hopping on the elliptical for a few minutes at the end. It doesn't sound like a lot, and that's because it's not. but it's enough to get you going. It's not about how you start, it's just about that you start, and you can build from there. Question number 9, do I need to count calories to lose weight? Okay, so first up, we have to make a distinction. You do have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight. There's no way around that. Those are the laws of thermodynamics. However, there are a plethora of strategies that we can use to get you into a caloric deficit, and many of those do not involve actually having to count those calories. So, classic example here is intermittent fasting. This is something where you're restricting how much you're eating to a specific window of time, and because you have a much shorter schedule for how much you can eat, it's much harder to overeat, and you typically end up in a caloric deficit without ever having to count calories. Another example is by using portion sizes. So for example, maybe each meal is constituted by a fist-sized portion of protein, a palm-sized portion of carbohydrates, and some fruits and vegetables, all from whole food sources. And then you can generate a caloric deficit usually by doing this and eyeballing it as such without having to weigh or count anything. For the record, we usually do encourage most people to count their calories because we actually believe that it creates more freedom in your decision making when it comes to weight loss. But technically, no, you don't have to. There are plenty of other ways. And question number 10, our final question, what's better for weight loss, cardio or strength training? Almost a bit of a trick question here. I find these to be two sides of the same coin, which should be your exercise program. Exercise plus diet plus activity equals weight loss. Cardio is great while you're dieting for helping to increase that caloric deficit and also just for improving your general health. Resistance training is great for a few reasons. First, it's easy to lose muscle when you're dieting without lifting weights, and this actually ends up making weight loss harder. And second, oftentimes people, especially who are new to exercise, end up building muscle during this process, and that added muscle mass boosts your metabolism, helps you burn more calories, and makes the diet easier. Also improves your quality of life. Your diet is just as important as your exercise program, but your exercise program should consist of both of these things. And that'll be it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to do more of these in future, so if you have any questions for us that you'd like to be answered in a video like this, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're ready to take control of your health and fitness once and for all, head over to getcyberfit.com and fill out our application form. We do personal training right from your home over Zoom. We'll set you up with a custom nutrition plan, and we'll ship you all the equipment you need too. One more time, that's get-cyber-fit.com, and I will see you next time.